Tonight on SportsDesk, to kneel or not to kneel? A lapse in judgment caused the Canes to fall to Georgia Tech last week. Our In the Trenches team will tell us what they need to do to rebound and upset North Carolina tomorrow.
Plus, new sport on the court? The pickleball pandemic has spread across the country over the last few years. Hear how the sport is taking the University of Miami by storm.
And later on, learning to fight so they don't have to. We take a look at how one after-school program is helping at-risk kids through the sport of boxing.
All that and more?
SportsDesk starts
right now.
I'm Ed Reed, and you're watching SportsDesk.
Hi, I'm Jim Kelly, former UM guy. You're watching SportsDesk.
What's up? I'm DJ Williams, and y'all watching SportsDesk.
Good evening and welcome to Sports Desk. I'm Jake Baum.
And I'm Ryan Marshall. Students on campus are getting ready for fall break, but of course, Canes sports never rests.
Yeah, Ryan, and just earlier today we received some breaking news from a social media star who can also play basketball pretty well.
That's right. Former Miami and Fresno State guard Haley Cavender has announced her intent on returning to college hoops on Instagram. Cavender would be entering this time as a graduate student with 1 year of eligibility remaining. She is aiming for a return in the 2024-2025 season, but there is no announcement yet on where she intends to play. Her twin sister Hannah has no intention on returning, and the pair of them will continue wrestling in the WWE for the remainder of the year.
The Hurricanes opened ACC play last weekend against Georgia Tech at Hard Rock Stadium, but how did the 17th ranked team in the nation fare against the Yellow Jackets? Let's head over to Miami Gardens to check out the highlights. This game started off with a bit of a lull. Only 3-0 Canes at halftime, but in the third quarter is where things got started. Specifically, Tyler Van Dyke to Riley Williams here for the first touchdown of the game. It looks like a fumble, but he did get the score that counted. So it's 10-0 Canes. Continuing on, 2017 Canes now in the fourth, only 30 seconds left. All the Canes had to do was take a knee, but they choose to run it when they did not have to. They fumbled the ball. It's Don Chaney fumbling the ball. Kyle Kennard for Georgia Tech with the recovery. Haynes King now quarterback for Georgia Tech, making a last-ditch effort, nearly a Hail Mary, able to connect with Christian Leary and score the game-winning touchdown for Georgia Tech. 23-20 was the final in favor of Georgia Tech. Absolutely deflating loss for Miami.
Looking to rebound against North Carolina in Chapel Hill on Saturday, Wrigley Court and Andrew Klein are here to tell us how Miami can upset the Tar Heels on this week's edition of In the Trenches. Guys?
Hello and welcome to In the Trenches. I'm your host, Wrigley Court. I'm analyst Andrew Klein. And Andrew, we have to talk about the elephant in the room. The Canes losing to Georgia Tech on the fumble heard around the world. Absolute debacle by the team. Here's what head coach Mario Cristobal had to say about it.
Should just tell them to take a knee, take a timeout right there, recalibrate, and just take a knee. And so gave them a chance, and they took advantage of it and scored. So,
Andrew, your thoughts?
Well, Wrigley, it was an unexcusable, unfathomable loss for Miami, and this is something that Mario Cristobal has on his track record. You look back to his time at Oregon, the same thing happened in 2018. 2nd down and 2, ball in the Stanford 42, and Oregon had a fumble. They lost the game, but right now for Miami, it's all about moving forward. Losses happen. There's nothing you could do about that after the fact. So for the Hurricanes right now, you got to take all your focus into this Tar Heel team that you're facing on Saturday.
That's right, Andrew. And the strength of the Tar Heels is their passing game. Now, the Canes' pass defense held up well against Georgia Tech, holding Haynes King to under 50% completion, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. But Drake May, the man's a Heisman candidate, Andrew. How can the Canes slow him down?
Wrigley, Haynes King is an animal. Drake May is a beast. Let's look at what he did last year against these Miami Hurricanes because he was able to expose them in a number of ways. Look early on. These two Hurricane defenders get way too far up the field. They're undisciplined. Drake May has great feet, and he's got a great head and great eyes. The vision allows him to get that open lane. He goes to the outside and picks up a huge gain on the ground. So right now for Miami, you just got to contain that edge. Here again, Miami contains the edge this time. Well, you see the two guys on the outside, but Drake May is so elusive. He taps his feet and then buys that time to the outside, throws a little dump pass to his running back for a big gain one more time. So right now for the Hurricanes, it's all about containing Drake May first and then continuing to cover all those other UNC guys around him.
That's right, Andrew. Priority number 1 for the Canes should be stopping Drake May. But what else can they do to slow down the Tar Heels?
Well, Wrigley, the story of the NFL is Taylor Swift. So we got some Taylor Swift-inspired Klein's Keys. Number 1, bring it to me. Shake it off. Last week happened. It's over now. You just got to move on to UNC. Forget about Georgia Tech. Number 2, Don't leave any blank space in the open field. Right now for Miami, the defense, those safeties got to be disciplined. They weren't on the last play of the game last year. They got beat deep. Number 3, one more. Fearless. Tyler's version. His best game of the year last year was against UNC at almost 500 yards, 3 touchdowns. Right now for Miami, if Tyler Van Dyke can lead the way, the Hurricanes will be in a great position. And last week, Miami did not get the result they wanted, but 2 Hurricane fans had the chance to have a great time at a Miami football game like they always do. Check it out. For over 100 years, fans have packed the parking lots of college football stadiums for tailgate parties. But what do you do when you're new to school and you don't have anyone to tailgate with? Enter Vinny Scudo, a staple outside Hard Rock Stadium for nearly a decade.
I do them more for the kids and the parents so they have some place to come. Because there's really no place for them to come when they come here. So when they would meet all the parents, it's good for networking also.
Vinny's tailgates began in 2014 when his daughter, Stephanie, was a freshman at UM.
So she started telling me she wanted to start going to the football games. I said, well, how would you like if I come and cook for your roommates and you?
Spending quality time with his daughter was the original goal of the gatherings, but the small groupings have since turned into full tailgate parties.
2017 was one of the biggest ones we had, the first one. There was like 400 people. I could not believe it.
Even though Stephanie graduated in 2018, Vinny's tailgates have remained a staple of their relationship.
It's really nice. I do like it. He has a really good time, and I do too. So I think it's nice to be able to do this on Saturdays. I get to talk to all the other parents too that have students now or in the past. You know, it's like a nice space for me.
I hope it keeps on going. Me and my daughter, that she wants to come and hang out with her dad at a football game. That's pretty cool.
Reporting for UMTV, I'm Andrew Klein.
Earlier this week, Olivia Howell was able to get an inside look at the crew that makes it all happen for the Miami Hurricanes football team. She's live in studio to tell us all about it.
Thanks, Jake. We all see the players on the field with their helmets and their gear, but who helps them get there? This past week, I followed the team that helps get the Canes ready to hit the gridiron. The locker room is set. Shoulder pads, cleats, and helmets are laid out nicely, and the players are ready to take the field. But how did it all get there? It all starts with a different team, the equipment crew, and this group works just as hard as the team on the field.
Our preparation for a game starts really the minute that the previous game is over. Every game's a road game for us, so it's packing up, coming back, cleaning, organizing. Trunks have to get repacked.
And the game day prep is no easy feat either.
It's a lot longer than a typical game day for a fan or a coach or even a player. So we usually get there about 6 hours before the game starts to make sure everything is good for all the players, all the coaching staff. In the locker room, on the field, everything's set up so they can get there, get right to work.
But all great teams have something in common, a strong leader at the helm. Sam Nichols started his career in equipment management in 2006. And after spending some time working in the NFL, Sam found himself at the U.
Honestly didn't know it existed, right? Played sports growing up through high school and wasn't as gifted athletically to continue in college, and kind of got presented with an opportunity at NC State and really just fell in love with it.
And another thing a solid team needs is a powerful bond. And that's something this crew is not lacking.
It's nice being able to talk about sports things and things about the team with other people who also get what's going on, and we're all in the same boat. We all go to practice together, we all work together, so there's definitely a good sense of community.
You know, we work a lot of long hours sometimes late at night, early in the morning, but you kind of get to learn about each other, grow with each other, and really just become, you know, a big family, right? And that's what kind of helps grow and maintain our culture here.
It may seem like all the pressure is on the players on the field, but the team behind the scenes shoulders that weight as well.
We're a small piece in a very big puzzle, but that puzzle's not complete if everything's not there.
And with every game, remember the unsung heroes that make it all possible for the fans and players to enjoy the game they love. For UMTV, I'm Olivia Howell.
Thanks, Olivia. And coming up on Sports Desk, a thrilling victory for Canes volleyball and a golf program that continues to impress. This and more when we return.
Hey, Kevin. Ivan. You thinking about retirement?
Of course I've thought about it, but there's all this stuff in the way.
Oh, you're not kidding.
The house, the kids are going to college.
My new car.
Car? You bought a new car?
Oh, hey, you should meet my friend Avo. Avo's a retirement coach. He'll help get you started.
But what does Avo tell you to do?
You don't know? Focus on your future. Your goals can still be met.
But how?
Target your tomorrow and use the Avo bet.
You sing?
Not really. A is for taking action. Start off with a plan.
You built these letters?
Yep. V is for variety. There's so many ways you can.
I follow you.
Come on. O's for optimize your savings.
Let Avo lead the way.
Visit aceyourretirement.org today.
Nice sign.
Thanks, I made it myself.
Cool.
Oh me, oh my, Kane's Olympic sports had a very busy week. Volleyball had a tight match, soccer went to South Bend, and multiple invitationals took place in tennis and golf. Zach Macer and Taryn Jacobs took the time to break it all down.
Canes fans, welcome back to another edition of O Sports on SportsDesk. I'm Zach Macer.
And I'm Taryn Jacobs. Zach, Canes volleyball picked up a huge win last week against NC State.
Yes, they did. If you like drama and you like sports, then this Canes volleyball game was just for you. The Canes volleyball game went to 5 sets, and in the 5th set, they went to 14-14. However, the Canes pulled off 2 crucial points to make sure they got the ACC win. Their ACC record is now 4-2, and having that win made sure they avoided being just a 500 team. The MVP of the match, however, was Flor Heredia Colon. The sophomore hitter just had 25 kills. It's her career high. Her future is bright for the Hurricanes. I also wanted to talk about golf because Sarah Byrne, the golfer from Ireland, finished 15th amongst all golfers in the Tar Heel Invitational, and the Hurricanes had finished 13th as a team. Taryn, when Canes soccer went to South Bend, they weren't so victorious, were they?
That's right, Zach. Canes soccer took a big loss to the Notre Dame Fighting Irish 7-2 this past Sunday. They went down with an early deficit, being down 4-0 at halftime, making it difficult for them to make a comeback. In the second half, they were able to put 2 points on the board, but that was not enough as Notre Dame had a response for them each time. They ultimately went on to lose that game, but they'll keep their heads held high as they return back home here tomorrow night to take on the Wolfpack of NC State. And although tennis season has not gotten into full swing yet, some of the players are making their appearances in the fall tournaments. One of those players is redshirt junior and third in the nation, Alexa Knoll, who played in the ITA All-American Championship match this past weekend. She took on second in the nation, Mary Storiana of Texas A&M, and although she ultimately fell in that match, the future proves bright for her and Canes tennis.
Well, that's all the time we have for O Sports this week. Back to you guys at the desk.
Thanks, guys. Last season, Canes tennis player Alexa Noel finished 6th in the final intercollegiate tennis rankings. Tatenda Mukareshija sat down with the Canes tennis star to discuss how life on and off the court has been since transferring to the U last year.
Welcome back to this week's episode of Athlete of the Week. I'm your host, Tatenda Mukareshija, and today I'm joined by UM's amazing tennis player, Alexa Noel. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
It's so good to have you. How did you get into tennis?
My family relocated to Canada probably when I was 4 or 5, and that's where I learned to play. My mom kind of threw me in this little camp at her country club while she was working out, so tennis was just one of the activities, and I went for it.
Wow. So what has it been like living in Miami?
Different. I actually transferred in from University of Iowa after my sophomore year, and as you can probably imagine, it was like a 180 turn. Weather, lifestyle, everything about it, but it's been great so far, and I love it.
I love that. What motivates you?
Oh, man, probably my family, my friends. I know there's a lot of people out there that want me to do well, and there's also a lot of people that probably don't want me to do well, so maybe that's even more motivation itself. But yeah, I think probably I just hold my family really close to me, so.
Wow. What is your favorite thing about being a Hurricane?
Oh, man. God. I think I like how the athletic department is very close-knit. I feel like all the athletes, with the exception of basketball, we get to share the same training room and stuff. So it's nice to be around everyone, and I think that makes the camaraderie even better. So
Wow. Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, I'm your host, Tatinda Mukherjee. Remember to be good, and if you can't be good, be safe. Back to you at the desk.
Thank you, Tatenda. Pickleball. It's not just for your dad and his friends anymore. Recently, the sport has picked up a younger audience, even here on campus. Reporter Wrigley Court hit the court to find out why.
On a typical Friday night, the tennis courts at the University of Miami were virtually abandoned. That is, until last April, when Canes Pickleball burst onto the scene.
In our first semester, we were hoping to have 50 members, and we're almost at 400. So it's really cool to see it grow super fast.
Brian Kanzer is the founder and president of Canes Pickleball, and though his efforts have sparked a pickleball boom on campus, the sport isn't just gaining traction in Coral Gables. It's one of the fastest growing sports in America.
It's social and it's such a low barrier of entry, meaning it's a cheap sport to play and it's very accessible. I think people are really starting to see that and really starting to pick the game up.
You can be a 10-year-old playing with your 82-year-old grandmother, or just you can pretty much find anybody on the street, play with them, and have a good time.
While ease of access may bring people to pickleball, it's the community, one that welcomes players of all skill levels and ages, that keeps them coming back.
A lot of times, if you're a beginner especially, and you're playing another racket sport, people aren't necessarily so friendly, but here people are very friendly and will help explain the rules, so people are learning along with more advanced players.
Love the community, a lot of great people I've met here, and it's just a lot of fun to play. You're meeting new people all the time. Whenever I went out onto the tennis court, it would always be the same few people, but pickleball, I had never seen these people before, and they're honestly really cool, cool people that just want to have a good time.
Despite the sport's casual nature, the plan is for the club to be much more than just a social group.
Qualifying for nationals for next year, that's our biggest goal, is to be able to go there and hopefully bring back a trophy for Miami.
But at the end of the day, Canes Pickleball is all about fostering community.
So many people love this sport, and if you got the community, it's just going to continue growing.
For UMTV, I'm Wrigley Court.
Up next on Sports Desk, there's a lot to talk about online for the Hurricanes this week. Behind the Post will be back to talk about all things social when we return. But first, it's time for some trivia. Saturday marks the 27th all-time meeting between the Canes and Tar Heels. Miami has won 11 of those games, but when did they last defeat their ACC foes? Is it A, 2018, B, 2019, C, 2021, or D, 2022? Stay tuned for the answer when Sports Desk returns.
Chance high five. All right.
When you adopt a shelter pet, you discover all the things that make them unique.
And your mother I am totally a hot person. Right, guys? Thanks for being honest.
They're a little bit of a lot of things, but they're all pure love. Adopt pure love at theshelterpetproject.org.
Guys, start to fall break this weekend. What are the special plans?
For me, parents' AC's out, so I'm staying here.
I'm just staying here and relaxing, using this time to, charge up.
There you go.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back. If you guessed A, you're correct. The then 16th ranked Canes took down the Tar Heels 47-10 in South Florida. And Kosi Perry led the way with 125 passing yards and a touchdown, while DJ Dallas tallied 116 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns.
I miss DJ Dallas on the Canes, but here's the deal. The Canes may not have come out victorious, but mention it and he will become uproarious. Plus, an ACC matchup with UNC may prove to be the thing that is the key to set him free and on a spree. And a surprising twist in women's basketball world with a certain blonde-haired girl sends him for a whirl. Of course, he is your host with the most, Niles Nassim.
Guess who's back? Back again. Yes, sir, I have returned to reclaim my throne as the king of social media. I mean, seriously, did you see the guy last week? He might be coming for my job. But in all seriousness, thank you, Manny, for filling in. You did a phenomenal job. But you know what time it is. Welcome to the most electrifying segment on TV with me, Niles Nassim, your host with the most. When you see me on screen, it's time to go behind the post. No, I will not be talking about last Saturday. Do not ask me for analysis, opinions, or feelings on it, so don't ask me at all, or I will do what the Canes should have done and take a knee to your jaw, because in my mind, it did not happen. But you know what's happening? A chance at redemption. That's what. Excitement is what I feel, because we are rolling into UNC to tussle with the Tar Heels. The Heels are currently ranked 12 in the national standings, which is a perfect opponent for the Canes to use as a bounce back. It's going to be a shootout. I'm talking there's going to be so much offense, it would even make the Big 12 cry. Now, not to mention TVD versus Drake May. Take my money. The game will be live tomorrow at 7:30, and you don't want to miss it. Now, hey, what's happening here? Why is the screen glitching? Is that who I think it is? Is that Haley? Haley, won't you come my way? My goodness, I have missed you so much here. This is phenomenal news, because it's T-minus 1 month till our winning women are back on the court again, and I cannot wait to see them dominate, because this season will be one for the books. So buckle up, but I'm so excited because there's a chance that my wife is coming back, so I need to go call my sources. So that's all I have for today. Remember, be blessed, because I am. Don't stress, because you can find me right here on SportsDesk. I'm Niles Nassim. What a great day.
Thank you, Niles. And with just a few weeks left until the 2023 basketball season, our Hurricane Hang Time crew is here to give us a preview of the men and women's non-conference action. Let's send it over to Jordan, Michael, and Annie for more. Guys?
Thanks, guys, and welcome back to Hurricane Hang Time. I'm your host, Jordan Cerullo, joined by Michael Muela and Annie Watson. Let's start off on the men's side of the ball. Mike, what are some early takeaways after looking at Miami's non-conference action?
Well, Jordan, the biggest thing that I took away is the home court advantage. Out of Miami's 11 early non-conference games, 10 of them are going to be played right here in the Watsco Center, starting off with in-state foes UCF and FIU. But then in middle November, they're going to get an early season test in the Baja Mar Classic against either Kansas State or Providence, who were two NCAA tournament teams a year ago. So definitely a big game if you're Miami, if you want to have another shot at the NCAA tourney.
As Miami closes out their non-conference play, what is the biggest factor Canes fans should be keeping their eye on?
Well, I'll reemphasize it. It's the home court advantage. Miami has just 2 non-conference games away from the Watsco Center, like I previously mentioned, that Baja Mar Classic. But the ACC-SEC Challenge, they're going to go up to Lexington, Kentucky to play John Calipari's Wildcats. So that's definitely a big game if you're Coach Larrañaga and this squad, if you want to have another strong season.
Turning it over to the woman, Annie, who are some of the big-name teams Miami faces that could provide some challenges?
Well, when looking at the non-conference play, 2 teams that Miami will be challenged by, are Baylor and Mississippi State. Both these teams made it into ESPN's way too early top 25 rankings this offseason, with Baylor as number 13 and Mississippi State as number 21. That game against Mississippi State is Miami's first away game, so that crowd in Starkville will prove to be an additional challenge. The Bulldogs team made it to the NCAA tournament under then rookie head coach Sam Purcell and lost in the round of 32 to Notre Dame. The Baylor Bears, on the other hand, also made it to the NCAA tournament, losing in the second round to UConn, and the defense led by Dariana Littlepage-Buggs could prove to be a bigger hurdle for the Miami Hurricanes than expected when the Hurricanes host them at the Watsco Center this fall.
A few teams are making some under-the-radar moves in the transfer portal this offseason. How can these players force Miami into early season troubles?
Well, one of those teams is Miami itself. Haley Cavender announcing today that she will be entering the transfer portal with Miami as a potential landing spot. So that'll be interesting to see how the Hurricanes adjust to that news today. Also, Mississippi State bringing in 3 big dynamic offensive weapons in the transfer portal, and Baylor bringing in Jada Walker at the guard position.
Both squads tip off their season in just over 2 weeks. Well, that wraps up Hang Time for today. Let's send it back to you guys at the desk.
Still ahead, we're going to tell you about how one local gym is helping youth combat bullying in the form of an after-school program. Don't go anywhere.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch.
In a world where the battle against bullying affects far too many children, one South Florida gym steps into the ring to fight bullying and train the next generation. I visited South Beach Boxing to find out more. Fighting often gets a bad rap, but in reality it can be very beneficial in a controlled environment. One after-school program in Miami Beach teaches at-risk kids respect, discipline, and self-defense through the sport of boxing.
The overall goal of my life is to teach people to fight and be strong and be fully self-expressed and learn to honor themselves. So our slogan is we teach kids to fight so they don't.
Jolie Glassman founded Jolie's Kids in 2014 and has been living that motto ever since. The program is run out of South Beach Boxing on Tuesday and Thursday afternoons by head trainer Romeo Montana, whose mission is to help children through boxing, just like it helped him.
My dad put me in it to keep me off the streets. And it worked. And I didn't get in trouble. And thank God I'm still here doing what I do, doing what I love. So I want my kids to do the same.
And it's here on the gym floor where kids are using punching bags like these to perfect their jabs, hooks, and uppercuts, but they're also learning valuable life lessons to take with them outside of the ring. 17-year-old Keyshawn has been in the program since he was 12. He picked up boxing as an outlet to control his anger.
When I was much younger, I was a lot more aggressive, a lot more, angrier, and this just like, I was able to take my anger on something like a punching bag.
And for an amateur boxer with Olympic dreams, the Jolie's Kids program has greatly changed Keyshawn's life outside of the ring.
But it's helped out Keyshawn a great deal. He's much more, like I said, very calm, very cool, very collective. He's very respectful.
While the training in the Jolie's Kids program is tough, the friendships the kids make in the gym are meaningful.
But our kids play better together than any environment. In boxing, which is funny, where they are fighting, they don't fight. It's only like while they're fighting in the ring and then they touch gloves and hug after.
And Jolie and Romeo are certain that the lessons and skills the kids learn in the gym will stick with them for the rest of their lives. Ryan Marshall, UMTV.
Quite a show was put on in The Show this week. Among many upsets throughout Major League Baseball, was the Phillies defeating the Braves in a 3-1 series win. The star of the show for Philadelphia was none other than the notorious Bryce Harper, who's at the forefront of some controversy. After a base-running mistake causing the Titans to lose Game 2 of the series, Braves shortstop Orlando Arcia was quoted in the locker room post-game mocking Harper, which Bryce would not soon forget. You can see as he rounds the bases, he is eyeing Orlando Arcia the entire time. He does not forget what Arcia said about him, and he would homer again in that same game. Of course, the Phillies would go on to win the series 3-1, like I mentioned, and they will face the Diamondbacks in the NLCS.
Canes volleyball had an electric win in their matchup against NC State last week. Miami pulled out the win in 5 sets with the nail-biter final set ending 16-14. But after a game full of spikes and digs, the Miami celebration ended with a little jig. As you can see here, Miami is going to get the deciding point with them finally getting over. And look at these girls right here. They are joining in this huge circle right here. It is a team celebration. I think I see tears on one of their faces right there. Everyone's jumping for complete joy. And now we have the players going into the stands. They're just completely excited. And we're going to get one last look here. There's going to be a little bit of a jig here, hopefully. Let's see it. I want to see the moves. Look at that. Pull out the moves. Pull out the moves. But I'm afraid that's going to be all the time we have for tonight's show. Thank you for tuning in.
Hey, quickly, what's the similarities between a volleyball coach and a dentist?
I don't know.
They both use drills.
We'll be back same time, same place next week after a well-deserved fall break. See you guys next week.
See you next week.